Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 New Waters America. Let's continue on from where we last left off. So, we are currently, I don't know if we're going to win Indonesia this episode, but we're going to be extremely close. The French People's Republic is going to win the French Republic. The French state is going to, the French state. Wait, which one's the French state? Oh god, France has gone into the Civil War. We got the French state, we got the French resistance. We've got probably the Nazi puppet. We got the French revolutionaries. Okay, hi France. Interesting seeing you here. So France in Africa is falling apart, and France in Europe is also falling apart. The French Civil War. Talking horror has come out of France as the powder keg seems to have finally blown up. Years of tension under the iron fist rule of President Sidos has led to a total collapse of the government's authority, as various dissidents have risen up to fight against the state. The resistance were the first to rise up in La Rochelle, followed by the counter-uprising of various militias. Adding fuel to the fire is the presence of communist revolt in Marseille, as partisans have taken up arms against the Sidos regime. Each of these factions have reclaimed the rightful government of France, and fighting is becoming increasingly common across the country. Well, presumably... Okay. The only ones who matter. Working within the Greenlandic education system was a depressing experience, no matter how one cut it. Large Chiminitz often felt like he was screaming into the void. One would think that being the school inspector of Illusiat, the third largest city in Greenland, would have given his word some weight. Yet, no matter how many reports he wrote, no matter how much he highlighted the abysmal state of Greenland's education, it always seemed to come was nothing. It wasn't as though the people didn't care. Some members of the provincial council had expressed their thanks for his work he'd done and had pointed their finger squarely at the problem. A problem which is obvious to anyone paying attention. This is why he perked up when he read the news that provincial council had actually tried taking steps to fix the problems facing Greenland, which had lasted until news of their failure followed. Officially, it was because they lacked the necessary support for reform. He found the wordplay clever. It wasn't as though there wasn't public or popular support. Oh no, everyone in Greenland knew reform was desperately needed. But they didn't have the support from the only one that mattered, the Americans. The Americans would likely pressure them to stop the attempts, and the council had complied. It frustrated him, even from the pragmatic standpoint. There was nothing to lose from supporting Greenland. He had to imagine that the United States simply wasn't aware of what their interests here were doing. If there was ever a time to give Greenland some leeway, it was now. He'd hoped the United States would reconsider their policy, otherwise he feared things were only going to get worse. A run through the jungle. Pouring himself a scotch, President Kennedy reread the report from a man in Abidjan, one of the few tattered remnants of the Third French Republic. As if Africa wasn't suffering enough, the fragile peace in the western half of the continent was, as of today, shattered, as war broke out between the French and their allies and the Cameroon Socialists. A few years couldn't have passed after the arrival of American troops in South Africa for another crisis enveloped the continent. And as much as pacifists and the bad actors the Republican Democrats would rally against him for it, he had to intervene. Without American intervention, the whole of West Africa would fall to the rising tide of revolutionary socialism, and the French Aminic colonial army had little hope of standing in its way. Kennedy mused over the issue, feet up at the Resolute desk as he listened to the late-night rain pattering against the window of the Oval Office. The scumbags of the party's right wing would have a field day with him. The aggressives, sending more troops to fight blacks. What choice did he have there? It was this or lose Africa to a government only a shade away from outright communism. Perhaps he could spin it as America was protecting its pseudo-colony in Liberia, or valiantly stepping to save their once allies in the Second World War. Like everything in politics, there was no easy answer. But he was resolved to do what he knew to be right. Intervention was necessary, as Africa was dividing between the fascist Italians, the Nazis, and a bunch of Reds. Wasn't a future he was interested in seeing. As the president reached for the phone, it began ringing. Weirdly, he picked it up, already knowing that his wife would be on the other end, asking for him to come to bed. Soon, honey. Soon. It's very funny, because we are actively supporting the former Soviet Union here, but... Can I give them more money, by the way? Is that a thing I can do? We have West Africa now. West Africa. Foreign policy. Front lines to home front. We need to worry about the home front a little bit more. Discontent is currently at 0, so I mean, that seems good. Infiltrate ports. We have 166 political power. Let me just, before I do this, you are all looking good. The war on pacifism. Political power gain goes up by 10%. Anything else we can do here? Champagne American victories. Sure, we'll do that. Following... Enemy shipments, West Africa war will escalate. Enemy shipments will be made more difficult. Increase offense advantage in the Gulf of Guinea. So we have 48. Anything we can do here first? 0.4. Let's send troops to Angola first. Follow that up with harass convoys. Sounds good to me. And we can't do anything else at the moment, but that's okay. War's escalated by 0%. Can I send volunteers? Not yet, but hopefully soon. We need some more army experience for that. Also, let me do a quick save here. This was just for my own thumbnails. I want to make sure that's looking all spick and span. So are we not at war with you? Who are you at war with? You're actually not at war with this guy. I don't know why, but you just aren't. Okay, let's see if we can go and kill this smaller state as well. Move our way here, and then again keep on going all the way down like so. Because you're still looking good. Delete this line. You're both going to be moving your way this way. Thank you very much. Calling on the community. The war against poverty, the fight for basic human rights and decency, is one that my administration has done its utmost to fight. We have pushed reform and expansion for the welfare state to cover as many Americans as we can, to create a baseline, a safety net, to catch those that fall and need our help. However, this is not just a job of the government to facilitate. This is the work of the whole nation. Every one of us needs to pitch in to help the underprivileged and the poor, the sick and the broken, so that everyone can reach their full potential. For only then, when all Americans in all 50 states, in every community, great and small, help their neighbors, family, and friends, can we finally defeat the disease and scourge of poverty that has plagued humanity for thousands of years. So I call on all Americans, from New York to San Francisco, from Minneapolis to Houston, and all points in between. Your communities need you. Volunteers and donations are needed for an innumerable number of organizations tackling everything from school lunches to adult literacy to homeless shelters. Donating your time or money or both is a great way to tell your community that you will not leave them behind, that we will help you, and that we'll keep you warm, fed, and safe. The applause of Bobby Kennedy finished his speech was deafening, as he waves to the crowd and showing off his famous smile. Statisticians already show that the poverty rate in America is decreasing with the boost of welfare and the support of medical services, and the improvement of labor rights. And for the cherry on top, the National Progressive PAC, which is famous for not agreeing on anything, someone's all come together to support the president's work. By the way, the economy, what are we doing right now? We're still counting pennies. We're still trying to deal with inflation. GDP, though, is going up very, very nicely. How is poverty? Oh, it's been going down, baby. We love to see it. Total trade has gone down a little bit. Large trade partners currently with the UK. And we're mostly trading in oil, which is not a huge surprise. And now, what do we want to do next? Again, we have 130 political power. I mean, I love political power. I love having it. I do want to try to increase maybe optics a little bit, but I don't think there's anything we can do for the home front quite yet. So, let's go for battleship diplomacy. We'll kind of keep on working our way to getting the negotiation for the Japanese ports. So I think we can probably do this a different way. So, like, 1, 2... I think that works a little bit better. And then you just push away towards East Timor. Never mind. Can you go here and then go away towards their capital for that smaller state? Let's take York City. And if I'm going to look, not the French Civil War. I mean, I'm interested in it, but not as much right now. You're about halfway dead. We're definitely need to shift some troops up towards Borneo. And we're not at war with Malaysia. That's fine. We can crush these two divisions pretty easily. Operational success. We love to see it. And again, I don't think we can actually lose anymore, right? Like, unless I'm mistaken, we're going to have a 100% chance no matter what we do. Egyptian snooping. What do I need to do to send troops? West African war escalates, naval bombing, send military advisors. Let's get that going first. African quagmire. So how many troops do we want on this front? Probably 3 at most. 5 is way too much. Yeah, bring you two over here. Make sure your offensive line is pushing your way towards here. Get that going. Are there any Japanese... Okay, so there are some troops in Borneo. I was going to say, I don't see any. How it all starts. It's on all stations. There was static for a moment as the television searched for the next station, only for another image to appear. Once more of a bombed-out village in Free French territory, displayed in all of its smoking, blood-soaked glory as the flag of Cameroon flew in the distance. Can't get any news if it's not coming out of West Africa. I don't bother why they bother. Wait, I don't get why they bother so much with it. Howard entered the room with a bowl of stew and a disquieted expression as he turned to sit on the couch. His wife Judith was still fiddling with her knobs on television before she gave up and joined him. He gestured idly with his spoon toward television as displayed a glamorous shot of the Free French bombardment. We have no truck with this one. I ain't even even France the Cameroons are fighting. It's just a bunch of lost soldiers in Africa. People are worried, Howard. We all know what happened last time fighting started up in Africa. Folks want to know if we're staying in for another round. Judith pointed it out before retrieving a bowl for her own stew. Those were Nazis, Judith. No one had a problem with killing Nazis. Howard opened his mouth to continue before Judith interjected again. Except for Lionel, you know, down the street. He had a lot of problems with killing Nazis when the whole thing started, Howard sighed. Yes, except for Lionel. Point is, whatever the fight is becoming, it started out in a good place, you know? Protecting the free world, stopping a German advance, that whole thing. This, though, this is a territorial squabble. Like the rest of what's going on in Africa now. It ain't stopping Washington, hun. I heard they're going to be sending advisors, Judith remarked. It grew a raised eyebrow from Howard. And yeah, to the French. They aren't even French, though, Howard grumbled as he pinched the bridge of his nose. He and so many other Americans like him had a very bad feeling about this one. So he, like many other Americans like him, kept their eyebrows glued to the television set. A nation holds her breath in anticipation. America, you don't... Look, American public, you don't need to know anything, okay? The home front, nothing we can do here quite yet. And let's take another look at our mandates here. They're doing a crackdown. So they have what? I mean, they could agree to the socialists. They could demobilize soon. Stabilize the industry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 focuses, 35 days. So we're looking at about 9 months. So by 68, the mandate should begin to start expiring. You guys are about to cross into Borneo, which allows us to actually draw our front line, which means all of you will be here. And you will be moving your way... no, actually, chase down their soldiers first. I think that seems like a good place for us to start. And then we'll have you guys on an offensive plan as well. Yes, you guys do what you need to do. That's the way I see it. You're going to go to the capital. I don't know if that's going to get you killed off immediately, but I'm hoping that it does. And then this Marine Division, I know you're pretty far away from supplies, but you need to try your best. Okay, Wolof has one. I mean, theoretically, there's a chance that we just win the war. Like, that France just wins the war on their own, right? Like, that is a possibility. What are you? Secure the Gulf of Guinea. I can read. Currently is in nobody's favor. Well, then we need to send some more support for that, huh? Operate silent. Yes. Let's get this going. It only costs 5 points. So it's fairly cheap. We're going to send you over to Sitang. Mechanized division we can send over to follow you as well. National focus. You know, we'll even do Fort Alcatraz. And then we want to go back to Indonesia. About halfway dead. I mean, it looks like I think our allies are just going to win anyways. Obviously, it's good for us, because it means I don't need to get my hands dirty. But, we might not need to actually commit that much. Which will be very, very nice. Yeah, take these major cities. I think we take these cities that might see this guy collapse, which allows us to push our way, of course, further and further into these southern islands. I don't know how we've done it. I don't know how from near defeat to total victory. Now, again, the Free Government of Indonesia hasn't done anything here. This has been a purely American effort. Okay, there's our new capital. But the push is going well. These guys have no strength. I'm surprised you even have an army to begin with. 3 to 4 divisions is so fucking pathetic, man. Yeah, you guys don't have supplies. We're going to take your new capital in a second. It's going to give us a port. Return to the port. The withdrawal of Jamaica from the West Indies Federation has been a headache for everybody. For Robert Graham Minor, the United States ambassador to the country, and more recently for Prime Minister of Trinidad, Eric Williams, who built a path forward. The charismatic Trinidadian has called for dialogue with every remaining federational prime minister with his very own capital, the Port of Spain. After a few introductions and welcoming speeches, Williams looked prepared to read out his speech. While Jamaica's exodus from the Federation was unfortunate, we are not required to follow in their footsteps and dissolve the rest of the Federation. We are already a small country, but one that I am proud of, and one I assure you can be led to prosperity. The Federation system has been working well for us in the past, but not well enough, so it seems. Williams took a quick breather, curtly glancing at the ambassador seated from across from him. So what I suggest is this: to rebuild the Federation as something new. He pauses again. These West Indies were created as a strange hybrid of post-World War II nation building and foreign intervention, and definitely were not created to work for the West Indies. I suggest a total overhaul of the Federation system into a unitary state, with the capital centered right here in Port of Spain. The solution was a divisive one, at least in Robert's mind. Discussion to capture the room, mostly between the various prime ministers representing the various nations of the Caribbean. Most of them spoke with an infringement on their nation's rights, a fact which Williams took notice of. As of last note, I do not intend for this to serve as blackmail. But if my proposal is rejected, I cannot be sure if I can be able to maintain Trinidad as part of the Federation. Mr. Minor, perhaps you would like to weigh in on the issue. If his comment would be added to more discussion in the room, Robert would never know. The rest of the committee had fallen silent, and all eyes now looked to Robert. With a sigh, he brought the microphone forward towards himself. I think we want to keep the decentralized system for now. 39 points. We're going to take you. You're worth 10. You're going to move here and then move your way back down. Looks good to me. Okay. Again, we'll keep on looking at our numbers for Indonesia, because I think we just need to kill the Republic. Maybe. Right man, right moment, right music. The best art was that which met the moment, and Bob Marley considered himself someone who had just been the right man to capitalize on such moments. Of course, there had been a certain element of luck to it. After all, what were the chances that they'd be making an album right when a historic referendum was taking place? He patted Bonnie on the back as they celebrated. I told you it was the right time. His mate smiled. For once, I'm glad I was wrong. As it turned out, the unconventional album idea was exactly what the people were looking for. Something that was Jamaican. In the days since release, the album had become a point of national pride and an international hit. Bob remembered walking down the streets and hearing their music playing in restaurants, bars, and car radios, and even alongside street corners. They had become celebrities, welcomed with applause and cheers whenever they would perform. Money, fame, and a label, Peter smiled as they drank. I don't think I could have asked for more. No, Bob mused. I don't think we could have done better than this. They'd already been approached by a Japanese studio to sign them to a label, something that they hadn't expected to be considered for years. Not one of the biggest labels in the sphere. As they celebrated, he wondered if anything would match his success. Well, only if he was content to keeping everything the same. No, this was just a start. Whatever the future held, he would never become stagnant. There were many other artists who were connecting with now, ones he looked forward to collaborating with, learning and being inspired from. It was uniquely a special time, and he felt that that this was the best was yet to come. Okay, excellent. So you haven't fallen yet, 71%. I mean, the numbers are looking good. There's no denying that. Okay, so we wanted, that is, okay, so these areas don't matter anymore, because there's no actual cities here. Move here, then move your way up towards your new capital. A lot of good cities are currently falling. Indonesia, like, you've got to give up, right? Okay, they've now collapsed. Or Alcatraz is finished. And you know what? Well, actually, let's just finish off this tree. See all, hear all. And I want you to move your way towards Dili. I want you to move your way towards Wang Payu. And I would say things are looking good. Things are looking really, really good. Okay, the Karelian War. We don't care about that too much there. Orenburg and the Earl League do still exist. Okay, so I think Free France is just going to win. Like, even without our direct intervention. How many days do we have left on this? 153. I think we'll finish before that, even. Do some more convoy harassment. Let me just take one more quick look here. You're all stable. Indonesia. Trade relations go up. Now we want to spend more money on promoting the future of Indonesia. A unitary Caribbean. We'll see how they go. We'll see how that works out for them. We got a takeover in Manchuria. And again, you guys still need to be advancing in this general direction. Yeah, because now that's all flipped to us. Monarchy has been retained in Laos. And once this goes, you should all move your way over to this front. I mean, I would have liked if Indonesia collapsed today, but, you know, it is what it is. But I will say, at least for the time being, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not doing, give it a thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.